Mood has changed somewhat now that all three networks have projected Senator Wyche Fowler the winner in the race. A few moments ago, it came across the TV and it was virtually ignored, actually. With me are some Paul Coverdell supporters, Stuart and Mary Davis. Let me ask you right now, are you giving up, sir?
Absolutely not. I think it's too early to tell. The lead is too close. And I think everybody should stay up late tonight. I think this is going to be a, I hate to say the Harry Truman type word, but read it in the paper tomorrow morning.
Has President Bush hurt Republican candidates at all, do you think?
I think possibly so by not starting earlier. But there's two things that really impressed me one way or the other is the total number of people voting, just absolutely incredible. And number two is the number of young people that are here tonight. So I unfortunately believe maybe George Bush has hurt a few, but I really think the voters are going to go and they're going to pull the vote out from their conscience.
Mrs. Davis, let me ask you, are you not giving up?
Not yet, not until the last vote's counted.
Thank you very much. And also some people who have been around local politics for a while say that the networks kind of blew it back in 1986. So there is still quite a few votes still to be counted, and the people here are obviously not giving up. Reporting live from Coverdell Bush headquarters, I'm John Alston, Channel 2 Action News.
There are a lot of issues on the ballot. There were 8 amendments on the ballot today, so let's go to a look at those amendments, starting out with the school superintendent being appointed by the school board rather than elected. Right now, voters are saying with 62%, that's what they want. Taking a look at indigent care, that's health care for the poor. That is winning with 66% of the precincts counted. And then the big issue that was strongly supported by the governor, the state lottery. Again, 19% of the precincts counted. At the moment, the lottery is losing. But the governor is here to say why he's not really worried about those numbers right now, and we're going to have him talk about that in a minute. Channel 2 reporter Jeff Doris covering the state lottery issue, and he joins us live in Atlanta. Jeff.
Well, I hope you can hear me better than I can hear you over all this crowd noise. There have been a lot of strong feelings both for and against the lottery in this state, but right now, nobody has a very strong opinion about how it is going to end up. As you saw those numbers, it came out just a few minutes ago. It's 51% against it right now, but that's only 19% reporting, and none of the metro districts are in. So right now, as we say, it is too close to call. Most referendum issues don't excite much interest, but most voters we talked with had definite opinions on the lottery.
I think it's good for education.
It really doesn't work.
Even though his side was winning in the very earliest returns, lottery opponent Gary Floyd, who headed up a state network of opposition, predicted a long night of counting every last vote.
I think it's going to be incredibly close. I think that we're actually going to see maybe a defeat of the lottery by 1 percentage point.
When Governor Miller arrived at the Democratic Victory Party tonight, he was thrilled for his presidential candidate, but had no numbers yet on his pet project, the lottery.
Well, let's just wait and see what happens. You know what I think about the lottery and where the money is going. It's going to some very needed projects.
Obviously, the governor is very committed to the lottery. He has thrown himself into the effort to get it passed. But now, like everyone else, he's looking forward to a long night of just waiting to see what happens. Reporting live in Midtown, I'm Jeff Dorr, Channel 2 Action News.
All right, Jeff, thank you. The man who some say won election, at least in part because of his support of a state lottery, his championship of a lottery, and the man who's very much concerned that it may pass tonight is the governor. Thank you, sir, for being with us. Did you by any chance underestimate the depth or breadth of the opposition to the lottery? And if not, how would you assess their chances of beating it tonight?
I always thought it would be close, and I always thought that there would be a great deal of opposition from the churches and also from the editorial boards of the major newspapers. That has happened in every state where they've brought the lottery up. I have always been very confident that it would pass. I still feel that way, although it looks like it's losing right now, and I am concerned about it. But you see, we've still got a number of precincts to come in, especially from the urban areas. And in the urban areas where we do have returns, it's been carrying as much as 3 to 1 in some of the precincts.
And what about in South Georgia? Because there are a lot of people who live in South Georgia who cross the line to Florida.
Well, I think that it'll show a pretty good vote down there in Lowndes County and all through there also.
Governor, you're the man you appointed to head your lottery campaign, Dave Garrett, and I talked about this a couple days ago. And I said to him, I thought that it seemed that you were running a low-key campaign, that you felt that the lottery would turn out naturally, the people who liked it, but you were afraid too much publicity might really get the organized opposition going. If this is very, very close, would it turn out that that strategy was wrong, that you might have needed to sell the lottery more strenuously?
You mean I sell it more
Well,
strenuously?
no, you've done fine, but your campaign has been a low-key one. You haven't, your people haven't really hammered away at it the way they might
Well,
have.
you see, we've had a lot of things on our wagon that we've been loaded down with. This amendment number 2 that deals with school superintendents is one that we were vitally interested in. That's one of the best ways that you can have educational reform without it costing any money that I know of. And I'm very pleased that it's looking so good. And of course, then we had all the Bill Clinton.
We're showing you it's now 50-50.
Yes, I think you'll begin to see it turn some, and I think that you'll finally see it go ahead, but it's still going to be close.
Could I ask you a Clinton question while we've got you here?
I'm glad you did, because can I interrupt you to tell both of you
absolutely.
that ABC is now projecting 254 electoral votes for Governor Clinton, getting very close to the 270.
16 electoral votes away from a mandate. Look, there is not a single Democrat in the United States who has been behind Bill Clinton as firmly and as long as you have. And I was thinking about tonight the fact that back on the weekend before the Georgia primary, you and the governor's people sat around and you were worried that you might lose the Georgia primary, which would have finished Clinton. How desperate was it back then, and how important was Georgia in turning it around?
Well, Georgia has been very important in this whole Bill Clinton race. Georgia was the first state to go for him, of course, after the New Hampshire primary was held and where he finished second. And then tonight, Georgia was the very first state projected as a Clinton state by all 3 networks. So Georgia's played a tremendous role in it.
He has gone around the country and said that Georgia was there for him very early on. So you must be feeling good that your man is approaching the magic number.
I feel very good, but not just simply because he's winning, but because this is a man who's very well prepared to be president. He's going to make a great president. He's made a great candidate. He's going to make a great president.
Governor, hang on, and thanks for joining us tonight, and congratulations to you on your efforts. Right now, let's go to Little Rock, Arkansas, where our Michael Marsh is standing by, where Governor Clinton is, of course. And a big celebration, if it hasn't already begun, it probably is about to. Michael.
Well, actually, it's begun. It's been going on almost all day here in Little Rock. You can see behind me, they have the stage set. These people here in the foreground are campaign workers and Democratic VIPs. They get a ringside seat when Governor Bill Clinton comes out here to speak. We understand it's about 11 o'clock Eastern Time, 11:01 Eastern Time. He is supposed to come out and address the crowd. All I can tell you is the streets are packed. We are literally trapped in here on the grounds of the old State House, and the police are afraid when they actually announce that he goes over the top, this magic number, that people are going to rush this area. There is a wooden fence around it, and they brought in the mounted patrol, and we understand the horses are going to come in here so they can protect the people inside, and of course Bill Clinton, who would be up on the stage. So what they're afraid of is that people will come over when Clinton actually shows up. They're fairly polite, but you can't get anywhere. Like I said, we're trapped in here. We have these credentials, but we can't get out if we wanted to. So what can we do? We'll stay here and watch the show. We've got a ringside seat, too. We'll bring it to you a little bit later. Reporting live from Little Rock, Michael Marsh, Channel 2 Action News.
Thank you very much, Michael. Well, here are the latest results in the District 4 congressional race, where Kathy Steinberg is up against Lindner. And here are the numbers. As you see right now, with 26% of the precincts reporting, Kathy Steinberg is ahead with 55%. It's been a hotly contested race. Our Joyce Oscar is covering this race. She joins us live with Kathy Steinberg.
Well, Monica, as the night grows, the optimism here gets more and more. Kathy Steinberg has been leading throughout the evening. She is with me now. What's going through your mind?
Well, I'm happy that we're in the lead, and I'll be happier the more numbers we get in. It's exciting, but it's a little scary, so we'll just keep our fingers crossed and keep hoping that the numbers come in the way they've come so far.
This is a traditionally majority Republican district. What do you think, why do you think you're leading?
Well, I'm hopeful that the voters responded to my mainstream message and to the choice. It was a very clear choice in this race, and I'm hopeful that the voters, regardless of their political affiliation, voted independently. There's a large percentage of independent voters, and hopefully that'll pull me in.
How much of an effect do you think the Clinton win in Georgia, apparent win, has on your...
Well, it helps to close the gap. I'm quite sure, and I haven't seen any numbers, that this 4th congressional district probably went for Bush. So it's mine to win those voters over on the, to go independently. But Clinton's doing well, at least help to close the gap somewhat.
All right, thank you.
Thank
Kathy
you.
Steinberg. Of course, this is one race that everybody's watching awfully closely. Reporting live at the Kathy Steinberg headquarters, Joyce Oscar, Channel 2 Action News.
All right, Joyce and Ms. Steinberg, thank you. Here are the latest results now in the 11th Congressional District, a newly formed district as Georgia added one new member of the House of Representatives. In the 11th, with 42% of the precincts reporting, Cynthia McKinney has 67% of the vote to Woodrow Lovett's 33%. This is a new district carved out, specifically designed to be a black district, as they put it when they redistrict the state. And if Ms. McKinney wins, she would be the first black female member of Congress from Georgia. It appears that she is well on her way.
How heady it is for 37-year-old Cynthia McKinney, making Georgia history, winning the newly created 11th Congressional District by a landslide and becoming Georgia's first black congresswoman.
Thank you for coming.
McKinney circulated the room, saying tonight's the night for her volunteers. It's a bittersweet victory for her dad, Billy McKinney, a 20-year veteran of the Georgia legislature, wishing that he were in his daughter's shoes.
It's just wonderful. My daughter is going to Washington, going to take my place and fulfill my dream.
McKinney knows women and African Americans are looking to her for hope, especially the elderly blacks.
And also giving them cause and reason to be hopeful for the future. Not just for them, but for their children and their grandchildren. We are committed to opening doors so that the children of this country can live up to their expectations. Whatever they want to be in life, I am here to say you can do it.
McKinney's opponent, Republican Woodrow Lovett, is a first-timer to politics. He's watching the returns tonight at his home in Sardis. We caught up with Lovett campaigning on Friday. Tonight he says he's not ready to concede until he sees more results. Lynn Harrison, Channel 2 Action News.
Well, as you can see, it has been a busy day of voting and a busy night of counting returns. So what does all of this mean? Our political reporter, Bill Nigut, and our guests join us now for their expert analysis and commentary.
Bill is with Max Cleland and Johnny Isakson. Gentlemen, and Bill, you as well. What do you think is the reason for this amazing and some say historic turnout, not only in Georgia, but around the country?
You want to take a shot at that first, Mr. Cleland?
I will. I think the economy took a downturn and really woke people up. I think they said, hey, wait a minute, people in politics do affect my life. And so from the beginning this year, I saw the voters in this state and around the country began to take politics very seriously. So they were set up to take this general election seriously. Secondly, we had a heated presidential race in which the South was critical and Georgia was very important. We had the question of the lottery. We had a lot of local races. So I think this historic night was something that we could be seeing a little bit ahead of time in the months earlier this year. This is a serious election, and the people took it seriously.
Johnny Isakson, do you think there were people who came out here to vote against George Bush, and does that give you a sinking feeling in the pit of your stomach as a Republican?
My guess is as many voted against George Bush as voted against Bill Clinton. I think what you got to do is look at, you had 14 state referendums on term limitation. You had issues in various states, like in Georgia, where you had the lottery, which is proven tonight to be a heated issue that turned out a lot of people. 34 United States Senate seats with all the overtures of Anita Hill and the economy and women in the Senate and challenges like the challenge to Fowler in Georgia. You had a lot of reasons for people to be energized. And I'll just tell you this one story. This morning, I stood in line for an hour and a half to vote at 7. Of the 7 people on either side of me, there were 15 altogether, only half of them voted in the last election, so half of them were new. I think that tells you a lot about people coming out and being energized over races and issues.
I want to talk to you both about a couple of the congressional races. Before I do, Max Cleland, we've been showing all evening Cherokee County voters lined up for a mile waiting to get in. Let's make sure they understand if they're upset about how long it's taking them to vote. Is that your fault, Secretary of State's office, or who's in charge of those elections across the state?
The counties are in charge of determining the precincts and getting appropriate numbers of voting machines and voting equipment there. Cherokee County is a fast-growing county, and I'm sure they just didn't anticipate the turnout.
All right. Well, they're telling us we're going to have to take a break, go back to Don and Monica, but we'll talk to you again in a little while. Don and Monica?
All right, Bill and gentlemen, thank you. Still ahead, the results of some key election contests around our state.
Also, we'll have the latest local election returns from Metro Atlanta. Stay with us.